This video is sponsored by NordPass, a password management service provided by NordVPN. NordPass uses top-of-field encryption to securely save, store, and protect your passwords, and even generate new and complex passwords with just the click of a button. You simply download the extension to your internet browser and select one master password to log into any and all of your accounts. NordPass is compatible with just about every major internet browser, as well as your iPhone and Android devices. When you use the NordPass browser extension or app, you are not only securing your personal account information, but you're also making your life easier in general by only needing to remember one password instead of constantly clicking that dreaded forgot password link every other day. If you click on the link down below, you can receive 50% off of the already very low monthly price, all the while supporting my channel. You can do this by using the promo code FROMNOTHING or simply going to nordpass.com/FromNothing. So anyway, without further ado, let's continue on with the video. Hello everyone, it's Jabbar here, and welcome to episode 2 of African Weapons. Today, we will be talking about one of the most widespread swords in all of Africa, the takoba. The takoba has a long and confusing history in Africa, but is most commonly associated with the Tuareg peoples of the Western Sudan and the Sahara. And by the Sudan, I'm not referring to the modern-day country of Sudan. Historically, Sudan has been a blanket term that Arabs use to refer to all land south of the Sahara Desert collectively, and roughly translates to Land of the Blacks in the Arabic language. The takoba sword was also frequently used among the Hausa, Fulani, Mande, and other cavalry-based kingdoms of the Sahelian region of West Africa. To the untrained eye, these weapons may look like a spitting image of the knightly sword of medieval Europe, with its long, straight, and tapering double-edged blade and its cruciform hilt. While these were indeed weapons of African manufacture, you would not be entirely wrong in thinking that they are European weapons. Though the origins of a straight, knightly sword in West Africa is hotly debated, there is evidence confirming that some, if not a good portion of takobas, have blades that are originally of European manufacture, while others are of African manufacture. Also, similar to European knights, these swords were primarily used by armored horse-riding nobles, though their primary weapon of war was usually the javelin. Moving further to the east, roughly beginning around the Lake Chad region and stretching all the way to the Red Sea coast, the takoba becomes less prevalent and one can see a transition to a very similar straight sword known as the kaskara. Like the takoba, the kaskara is a straight, double-edged blade measuring roughly 1 meter in length. The key difference between the two is that the takoba tapers from the hilt all the way to the tip of the blade, roughly taking the form of an extremely elongated triangle, with both edges of the blade eventually intersecting at the tip. The kaskara, on the other hand, seems to have edges that run completely parallel to one another until the tip where they eventually round off and meet. The cruciform hilt of the kaskara also differs to that of the takoba in that it is more of a long and slender shape in comparison to the short and thick hilt of the latter. Lastly, the kaskara blades for the most part seem to be entirely of African manufacture, and their form has been perhaps preserved and evolved from archaic versions of early Arabian straight blades. With that being said, it is also very likely that the takoba evolved from the same historical source and that European blades were a simple augmentation to a weapon that was already similar in appearance and purpose. What is known with certainty, however, is that the takoba specifically was often but not exclusively made from imported European blades. In the year 1851, this is what German explorer Heinrich Barth had to say about how extensive this trade in European weapons was. Sword blades, which are set here, are imported in considerable quantity, as not only the Kel-Owi and the neighboring Tarki tribes, but also the Hausawa, Fulbe, Naifawa, and the Kanuri or Bornu people are supplied from this market. 50,000 may be the general annual amount of this article, which produces 50 millions. Almost all of them that I saw, not only there, but even among the Tuareg near Timbuktu, were from Solingen. Only a small portion of the imported remains in the country, but the setting of the blades, which are again exported, secures a great profit from the natives. In other words, these weapons were imported from Europe en masse, but only the blades. They were set into indigenously manufactured African hilts afterwards, and then the majority were again re-exported to neighboring peoples for profit. However, as mentioned earlier, not all were manufactured in Europe, with there being notable centers of blacksmiths in cities like Kano and Timbuktu, forging blades of remarkably identical and precise style and quality. So much so that it only adds to the confusion of just how many of these were imported in comparison to those that were indigenously crafted. In fact, Islamic inscriptions would be later added to many of these swords, and in some cases even the original Christian inscriptions would be added locally, despite there being virtually no Christian populations in this region of Africa at that time. This was further complicated by more blades being produced locally for tourists. What is known with certainty is that there is no evidence that Tacobas utilized European blades prior to the 15th century. On the contrary, it is believed that the Cascara may have been influenced by Arab and European Crusader-style blades as early as the 13th century. Regardless of the history behind these weapons or any external influence, the Tacoba and Cascara are unapologetically and locally developed African weapons, and have dominated a large portion of the continent for several centuries, until they were eventually replaced by firearms. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're enjoying this series so far, and for those of you who are living in America, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section what weapons you'd like to see featured in future episodes, and always remember, we don't come from nothing.